Carl Jung once said, "The whole point of sin is to bear it." What good is a sin if you can just cast it off? If you deeply acknowledge your sin, you must carry it, live with it, because it is part of who you are. Who have you felt the strongest negative emotions toward? Hatred, disgust, resentment. We feel the most intense emotions when someone violates our inner moral code, when they do something wrong, repulsive, unforgivable. But the truth is, most often, we see the guilt of others more clearly than our own. As the Bible says, we fail to see the log in our own eye, but notice the speck in another's. Why is that? What is it we don't want to see? Before answering, ask yourself, could I be a bad person? What do I judge others and myself for? What traits would I never allow myself to admit? From early childhood, we learn to hide our desires, mask parts of our character, and reject aspects of ourselves to be pleasant, good, normal. But what we've rejected never disappears, keeps living within us, like an invisible beast locked in a cage. Jung called this part of the personality the shadow. Modern neuropsychology confirms suppressed traits can form a hidden personality that competes with your conscious self for control over your actions and desires. Plato, in The Republic, described a famous scene. People chained in a cave from birth face a wall. They only see the shadows of objects and mistake these shadows for reality. They don't even realize there is a source of light behind them and real things beyond it. And so it is with us. We don't see the true source of our problems because it's hidden inside us. We don't recognize what causes our hatred toward others because it's the very thing we deny in ourselves. And this isn't just a metaphor. It's a real inner threat, one that can destroy us from within. If you don't see your shadow, it will start living its own life. It will sabotage you from the basement without warning. It becomes the cause of self-sabotage, addictions, failures, and persistent dissatisfaction with yourself. But if you dare to face it, if you don't look away from what you hide within, you can transform the shadow into a source of strength. It will give you access to depth, intuition, energy, an inner fire that's long been hidden from you. The shadow isn't just weakness, it's potential, power you haven't yet learned to harness. It's a force that can either destroy you or save you. Watch this video to the end to learn how to tame your shadow. The method we will show you is one of the most powerful in Jungian psychology. So why is the shadow so dangerous? Because it can take many forms, in different people, at different times, in different ways. But one thing remains the same. It always affects your life. And not just your life, but the lives of those around you. Hatred, aggression, selfishness, self-hatred, anxiety, chronic depression, a sense of emptiness, and inner numbness. These are just a few signs of the shadow at work. Let's see how shadow can affect you in different forms. Have you noticed in others, or maybe in yourself, a tendency to manipulate or to lash out in aggression? These aren't just personality traits. They may be masks, roles that hide the unaccepted parts of the self. Psychologists describe two classic patterns, two faces of the same shadow. They're like characters from political drama, the prince and the grey cardinal. The first, the prince, as described by Machiavelli. This person openly shows superiority, boastful, always highlighting their special status, contemptuous of the ordinary. This is narcissistic, even psychopathic behavior, built on power, image, and vanity. They proudly flaunt their victories, their deceptions, their manipulations. To them, it's not about what they did, it's about how they look. The goal, project strength and never show weakness. The second type, the grey Cardinal. This one hides in the shadows. They act indirectly, through others, charming, even modest. But behind it lies calculation. They treat relationships like chess, avoid responsibility, prefer others to pay the price, and always remain the victim. Both types are masks of the same shadow. Often behind them lie suppressed desires to be loved, fear of rejection, a hunger for power or safety. When a person doesn't acknowledge these drives, they begin to control them. They become the very character they fear to play. But the shadow doesn't only turn outward into aggression or manipulation. Sometimes it turns inward and becomes the enemy under your skin. Have you ever hated yourself? Not just felt guilt or disappointment, but true disgust toward your body, your thoughts, your words, your desires. Even the most successful, talented people feel this. Robbie Williams, a global superstar, once said, "I could write a book about self-hatred when it comes to my body image. It's pure self-hate. No matter what you achieve, it brings no joy. You feel undeserving of recognition or love. You compare yourself to others and always deliver the same verdict. I am worse." Psychoanalysis explains, self-hatred is also pride. The higher your expectations, the harsher you punish yourself when you fall short. That is the voice of the shadow, and the louder it gets, the more your sense of self collapses. Can the shadow kill? Yes, but not like lightning. More like a drop, falling inside you for years. Sigmund Freud described this state in Mourning and Melancholia. He wrote, "A person begins to punish themselves for everything they failed at, everything they've lost, everything they couldn't accept. This is the part of the psyche later called the superego. It is merciless. It criticizes, humiliates, accuses, says, 'You are weak, you are nothing.' If that voice becomes dominant, the person disappears, apathy takes over, emptiness. They sink into melancholia, and without support, understanding, or meaning, the darkest thoughts appear. That's why shadow work isn't mysticism or pop psychology. It's an internal act of survival, and at the same time, a path to freedom, strength, and wholeness you could never reach otherwise. So what's good about the shadow? Yes, its nature is frightening. Its effects can be destructive, but it holds your suppressed potential. Your energy, your strength, your talent, your passion, your truth. How is that possible? How can we use what we've been running from? You're about to learn one of the most effective methods of taming the beast within. But first, a disclaimer. Let's go on. How is the shadow structured? Carl Jung once said, "Man doesn't become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." What did he mean? From early on, we strive to be good. We absorb the light, our parents' ideals, moral codes, cultural rules, religious commandments. They become our inner compass. Be kind. Don't get angry. Don't be selfish. Keep family secrets. Don't be too sensitive. But the higher our ideals, the deeper we push into the dark everything that contradicts them. And the more we identify with the light, the more terrifying it becomes to meet our own darkness. The real path to inner light goes through the shadow, not through the illusion of perfection, but through an honest confession. Yes, there are things in me I don't want to see, but they're part of me too. What is the shadow? It's not just bad traits. It's the repressed side of the self, everything that doesn't fit our image of who we are. Shameful traits we try to hide, desires that would make us bad, memories and emotions too painful to bear, limiting beliefs inherited from family or culture, talents that never found a place to live. This part of you, it's not your enemy, it's your potential. Because beneath it lies your true self. And without reconnecting with it, healing and power remain out of reach. This is where the path of individuation begins. It's one of the central concepts of Jungian psychology. What does it mean? Individuation is the process of becoming yourself, not an ideal, not a socially approved version, but the real you. It's the journey of reclaiming the aspects you once rejected, not to become dark, but to become whole. When Jung spoke of accepting the dark side, he wasn't calling for indulgence, he was calling for maturity. To deny your flaws, desires, and mistakes, that is the path to inner conflict, but to accept them, that is the way to harmony and strength. Individuation is meeting your shadow face to face. It's the moment you stop living by someone else's script, stop being a hostage of collective ideals, and start living your own life. You no longer fight with yourself. You find out who you truly are, and you stop being afraid of it. Picture this. You reclaim qualities you once denied. You find common ground with your anger, your vulnerability, your passion. You stop endlessly performing and start truly expressing yourself. This is what true inner freedom feels like. But how do you begin the process of individuation in practice? In the next sections, we'll show you a step-by-step method you can start using today. This is more than just a series of exercises. It's a structured path of inner work, recognized in analytical psychology as one of the most effective ways to integrate the shadow. This method doesn't aim to suppress your darker sides, but to consciously reclaim and embody them, giving you access to deep energy, intuition, and inner wholeness. The method consists of 4 sequential steps: identifying the shadow, becoming aware of the shadow, accepting the shadow, using the shadow. These are not abstract stages. They are steps toward inner integrity. You cannot stop halfway. If you do, the method will have little effect. Are you ready to face your shadow? Step 1. Identifying the shadow. Where can you see your shadow? The answer is in other people. But the true meaning of this answer might change how you see yourself. The shadow is projected. Everything we don't want to admit in ourselves, we start seeing in others. Carl Jung once said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." That is the first key. Pay attention to those who provoke strong emotions in you: anger, contempt, disgust. If you hate someone who boldly expresses themselves, maybe you never allowed yourself to be visible. If someone's weakness annoys you, maybe it mirrors the part of you that you reject. Just sit with this for a while. Then move on to the next exercise. Practice. Writing. The following is one of the most reliable and effective practices for working with the shadow. It's used in Jungian therapy and deep personal work. The method is simple in form but requires honesty. Sit in silence. Take a notebook and a pen. Answer in writing. What triggered a strong emotional response in me today? What or who from the past might it be connected to? What traits do I judge in others? What do I judge in myself? And when did it start? What am I most ashamed of? What do I fear most or try hardest to avoid? Why does this scare me? What past experience lies behind it? Which traits of my parents do I deny in myself? The answers are not always obvious. If a thought made you uncomfortable, tense, or made you want to cross it out, that is your shadow. It hides in pauses, in avoidance, in resistance, in the places you don't want to look. If you don't find answers in one day, repeat the practice for 3 to 5 days in a row. This builds a habit of self-observation and makes it easier to accept your shadow. Try the mirror method. If you're already familiar with self-reflection, try identifying the qualities you've never allowed yourself to have. Start with a simple question. What kind of person am I? Most of us want to be good. This is natural. But that very desire often creates conflict with the shadow. Everything that doesn't fit into our light self-image gets repressed, and then it returns through stress, aggression, or emotional blocks. If, on the contrary, you see yourself as bad, the shadow will hide in your light side, in your ability to love, to be generous, honest, or strong. You don't believe those things belong to you. So how can you bring your hidden traits to light? Write down 10 to 15 of your personal traits, positive and negative. For each, write down what you feel is its opposite. If you see yourself as smart, maybe you secretly like to be silly. If you think you're disorganized, maybe there's a hidden strength in your ability to focus. Now look at the second column. What among these do you reject in yourself? What feels not you? What makes you uneasy, embarrassed, or angry? There it is, your shadow, not your enemy, not a weakness, but a part of you that is ready to be reclaimed. Ready? Then move on to the second step, awareness of the shadow. This is no longer a search, this is a meeting. Step 2, awareness of the shadow. Now that you've gotten close to the image of your shadow, ask yourself, what part of me am I suppressing? What do I not allow myself to be? What am I hiding? Even from myself. These aren't just reflections. This is a moment of recognition. For the first time, you become aware of what was once repressed. And if you don't look away, transformation begins. Psychologists compare this to a mirror effect. You finally see and accept the image you once denied. This is the beginning of conscious contact with the shadow. Important, a person may have more than one shadow, different forms, different masks. Don't rush to confront them all at once. Choose the one that resonates most strongly right now. You can always return to this process and repeat it with another shadow when you feel ready. Now that you know what your shadow looks like, the most important thing is, do not look away. Step 3, acceptance of the shadow. This next technique may seem like magic, but it has scientific grounding and produces real results. Create the shadow's persona. Imagine your shadow as a living person. Often, it takes the shape of someone who triggers a strong reaction in you, a parent, partner, colleague. This person evokes a strong emotional charge, whether positive or negative. What matters is that they are somehow linked to your shadow. Describe this person. What about them scares you, irritates you, or fascinates you? Speak about them in the third person. He's too loud, he seems aggressive, he's always overconfident. Say it out loud or write it down in a journal. No censorship, no politeness. The person you imagine will never know what you say. Now that you've seen your shadow in the flesh, it's time to speak to it. Talk to the shadow. Imagine the shadow can respond. Just picture what it would say. Tell the shadow what bothers you about it. Then ask, why do you act this way? What do you want from me? What are you trying to show me? What do you want to teach me? Imagine its reply. Say it out loud and write down what feels most important. Even if it feels like you just made it up, it's still a part of you. Most of the journey is now behind you. Now comes the most powerful part, integration. Become the shadow. Now you are ready to accept this person's traits, both those you admire and those that unsettle you. Imagine yourself as this person. Say out loud what you have realized from their perspective. Use phrases like, I am selfish, I am greedy, I am happy, I want power. Say it out loud. Don't judge. Just give yourself permission to feel it. This doesn't mean you'll become evil. It means you will stop being blind, and now it's time to ask, what can you do with the shadow now that it's a part of your conscious self? Step 4. Using the shadow. That you have met your shadow, acknowledged it, and accepted it. This is where the real work begins. This is where strength becomes action. Not abstract, but embodied. Start using your shadow. You can act on its behalf, not destructively, but creatively. Because the shadow is not the enemy, it is fuel. It once burned you from within, but now it can become your source of power. Don't be afraid to express it. Your task is to give it shape, space, a stage. Don't let it act secretly. Bring it into the light and make it your ally. What might this look like? If you've accepted your anger, don't take it out on others. Channel it into forceful practices, boxing, drumming, scream therapy, singing, the stage. Anger holds power, will, protection, if you allow yourself to feel it. If you've acknowledged your egoism or desire for attention, don't blame yourself or beg for approval. Express it through dance, acting, creative projects, your own blog or channel. Let yourself be seen, not to dominate, but to express. If you've found your vulnerability, sensitivity, or fear, don't push them back down. Instead, write about them in a journal. Talk to someone you trust. Learn to understand and express your feelings, because your ability to feel deeply can become support for others. If you've discovered your need to control, don't deny it, but direct it inward. Begin to take charge of your own life. Organize your space, your schedule, your plan of action. Become your own leader instead of controlling others. Think, what is your hidden resource? How can it be expressed in movement, in voice, in writing, in work? What have you been hiding, and what is now ready to come out? This is the practice of using your shadow, not fighting it, collaborating with it. Now that you've walked this path, from discovery to expression, pause for a moment. Realize you will never be the same. Your old mask might fall away, and you may see a new face in the mirror, not foreign, but honest. People may respond to you differently. Some will pull away, others will draw closer. You may feel uncertain, exposed, or vulnerable. That is normal. This is the price of personal growth. You can stay in your former shell, convenient, approved, predictable. Or you can become yourself, whole, real, alive. The choice is now. If you're ready to work with your shadow, leave a comment below. Subscribe and like this video so we can keep sharing insights from Jungian psychology. Share this video with someone who needs it. Free your mind, face the truth, reclaim your power.